you are. Thank you, Matt. All right. Good evening and welcome to the Town of Brentwood Council meeting of the Mayor and Council. Today is Tuesday, September 17, 2024, and we're starting this meeting at 7:06 p.m. As you know, this meeting is being held in person. Residents can view this meeting via Comcast Channel 71, Verizon Channel 36, or visit our YouTube and BrentwoodMD.gov. If you have any comments during the meeting, please email those to the town clerk at info@brentwoodmd.gov. With that, I will have Mr. Moran to call the roll.
Councilmember Lauren Rowe.
She is excuse absent.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe.
Excuse absent.
Councilmember Jerry Burgers.
Present, ready to serve.
Vice Mayor Kiana Taylor.
Here.
Mayor Lucio Terminio Lopez.
Present.
Interim Town Administrator Mr. Bagley.
I am present and accounted for, sir.
Police Chief Calvin Washington.
Present, sir.
Town Treasurer Shelley Dorsey.
Present.
Town Clerk Larry Moran present. And lastly, Town Attorney Jason Deloach.
Present.
Thank you. So with that, I will ask for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Flags up there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. I need a motion to approve the agenda. I have some edits, like Gateway CDC presentation is being
Table.
And, sorry, go ahead.
I move to approve the agenda of council meeting, Mayor and Council, Tuesday, September 17th, with the following amendments.
Supportive second.
All right, Gateway CDC presentation will be table, and I would like to add the stop sign legislation to be Brentwood Resolution 2024-04-1. I'm sorry, it's -4, actually. It's -4 to be added under all business, because this one we have already had a discussion before and presentation as well. Is there anything else that we need to add?
I'm sorry, Mayor, could you repeat your last edit?
A stop sign
Got it.
legislation.
Okay.
To all business.
Mhm.
Okay.
Anything else? No? If you agree with these amendments to the agenda, please say aye, and it's moved. Thank you, so moved. Okay, we have here a presentation from Office of Congressman Glenn Ivey. Ethan, welcome.
Thank you. I'll try not. Is that good? Okay, cool.
Yep, you're good.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you everyone for having me tonight here in the beautiful city of Brentwood, Maryland. The Congressman and our office would like to first, again, thank you for having us, and wanted to let you know that we've been hard at work this summer helping our constituents in all sorts of ways. We were able to celebrate grant funding awards for safe streets, for electric school buses, and for violence prevention, as well as continuing to work with the federal agencies just to make sure that our constituents are taken care of and that their concerns are addressed. We start with that just as a way to remind you that if you ever need help with the federal agencies or any of your constituents do, please direct them to us. We are more than happy to help. It's one of the main things we do, and we're more than happy to do it. But tonight I wanted to talk to you about 3 different things. The first is the Congressional App Challenge. So this app challenge or application challenge is an opportunity for high school students all across the country to showcase their skills and talents. The way it works is that each participating member of Congress receives submissions from high school students in their district. And from there, an independent panel of judges selects which app is the most innovative and beneficial to society. After the chosen district winner is automatically submitted into the national competition, and from there a national winner is determined by a separate group of judges. We encourage as many people to join in order to promote and nurture an interest in developing technology. And we also believe that this is a great opportunity for those that are interested in STEM fields to gain valuable experience and networking opportunities. The deadline to apply for that is August 24th, 2024. And I believe that you can go to congressionalappchallenge.gov if you want to get more information about what goes into that, or just reach out to our office and I can provide you with the information. Secondly, we want you to know that our office is now accepting applications for nominations to the military service academies. So members of Congress, as well as senators, the Vice President, and the President of the United States, may nominate candidates for appointment to 4 of the 5 U.S. service academies. These would be the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, the Naval Academy in Annapolis, the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, and the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy in Kings Point, New York. The 5th Service Academy, the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut, does not require a congressional nomination for appointment. So Congressman Ivey may nominate between 10 to 15 individuals for each vacant academy slot that is allotted to our district. And we want people to understand that receiving a congressional nomination does not guarantee admission to into the service academies. However, it is a requirement to be considered for appointment as part of each service academy's admission process, with, of course, the exception of the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. For more information on that, you can visit our website under services, and it's service, I think, Military Service Academy nominations, and that's where students who are interested can apply as well. The deadline for that is October 18th, 2024. So if you know any interested students or would like to help us get the information out, we're still accepting nominations until that day. Finally, I wanted to remind you all about everyone's favorite and my favorite thing, which is the Community Project Funding Grant Program. For those who are wondering what this is, it is a grant program where members of Congress can submit projects to the House Appropriations Committee as part of its annual budget process. The program was started in the last couple years, and honestly, it's been a very extremely effective way for us to get funding to municipalities and nonprofits for projects that benefit our district. Our office will begin accepting applications after we receive guidance from the House Appropriations Committee, which usually happens in late February or early March. If you have ideas for projects, you'd like to discuss some or get some more information, you can reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to meet with you individually or as a group to kind of talk about what you're thinking, go through some past guidance and see if we can kind of get you going on the right path. And then we also are planning to come around again early next year to have some more information. We will also be having a webinar sometime probably in January of next year. We haven't fully decided yet, but that will also have more information similar to the one last year. So again, thank you so much for having me tonight. It's always great to be here, and I will ask if anybody has any questions. Yes.
Quick question. On the community project funding, are there any restrictions in terms of the type of projects?
Yes, so there are restrictions on what types of projects are typically funded. That is also going to depend on what subcommittee accounts are available. If you go to the Appropriations Committee website, appropriations.house.gov, they just changed the website. But I believe it's still under member requests, and you can look up FY25 member request guidance, and there you'll see all the different subcommittees as well as the community project funding guidance, and that will tell you about what types of projects are eligible, what types of projects are not, and all that information.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question.
Yes.
The app challenge, you said that the closing date is August 24th, but I think you meant September 24th.
I actually meant October 24th.
That's
Yes.
what
Okay,
I thought.
that's
So
better. Okay.
that I am a little ashamed to say is the second time that's happened apparently. Yes, October 24th, 2024 is the deadline for the app challenge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Any
Anything
questions?
else?
No?
All
We
right.
good?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so I will move to the general public comments, and I would like to know if we have received any emails, any comments from the public? Nope. And I just want to remind the residents that would like to make any comments or submit comments to the mayor and council, that their comments needs to be named, not from an anonymous source. We don't read those for the record. Just that. Okay. So no comments? No? Okay, moving to the next item. Minutes, Mr. Moran. We approved some minutes, but we added to the
Yeah, to the consent.
consent. All right, so I'm going to move to the reports, and Police Chief Washington.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. I have for you the stats for the month of August. Month of August, there was a total of 306 calls for service. Out of that 306 calls for service, 5 of them were responded to by Prince George's County. The other 301 were responded to by Brentwood Police. And I just want to make a note that there were 110 premise checks conducted. We've had a few incidents that have required some special attention, and Corby Woods Center being one of them. We've and some activity around 3807. So we've stepped up. That's why that number's gone up. I mean, it's a good number, but it's 110 of those that for the month of August. Revenues collected, ma'am, were a total of 710. 525 for impound releases, 170 for parking citations, and 15 were miscellaneous others, i.e. Accident reports and things of that nature. And that is going to conclude that portion of my report. Did you want me to speak on the incoming? Chief? Beth?
This is your time. Unfortunately, it's sad for me to say that Chief Washington is leaving us soon, that he's being promoted.
So I just want to let you all know that I guess you all know already that there were interviews conducted. The mayor has picked a replacement, and The incoming chief, Marcus Jones, has a tentative start date for October the 4th. So he comes to us with good background, a lot of skills, grants, etc. I think the town he'll definitely be an asset to the town of Brentwood. Just want to make a special note that for the record, I didn't quit. I wasn't fired. I didn't run away from anything. I want to make sure that everyone knows that I never really left. I was here in a reserve capacity, assisting the town with speed camera programs and things of that nature. I just want to make that perfectly clear. But this will probably be my final meeting addressed to you all. It has been a pleasure working for the town of Brentwood. I've enjoyed my time here. I'm going to miss it, and I've enjoyed you all. Any questions for me?
No. Council.
Man,
Sir.
I'm not sure if I can quite phrase it as a question, but I'm sure I'm your favorite council person at the moment. And as such, I actually seriously just want to say I've enjoyed every minute over several years of working with you. You're just a consummate professional, and I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you, Councilman Burgess. I really appreciate that, and I'm gonna miss you the most.
Oh, yeah. Vice Mayor Taylor?
We've done this already. So I'm going to keep it short this time and just say good luck and congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
I'll still be calling if I have a question. Sorry for that. Just letting you know
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
that
ma'am.
I'm gonna still calling if I have a question.
And I'll answer the phone.
Yeah. Just know that it's gonna be free of charge.
Yes, ma'am.
You will be missed, and I'm sure you know the members of the community will miss you too. Thank you.
And that-
So,
Old
you did
business.
not include any revenue or that with the treasurer for the camera, speed
The
camera?
treasurer does have some data, I believe, on our speed camera, and my apologies for not including that in this report. The clerk did not have access to that information. Madam Treasurer, did you have any revenues collected that may be broken down by category?
So for the speed camera, we've been getting about $7,500 gross revenue a month, and we're seeing about $4,500 of that as net revenue. And if you, in the detailed report, which I don't read, but I do provide it to you guys, the year-to-date for the speed camera revenue is, give me 1 second here. Is $16,870 is gross revenue.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other question for the chief? Nope. All right, so moving to the treasurer's report.
So treasurer's cash report as of the end of August 31st, 2024, the ending balance in the general fund is $590,256.87. ARPA is $517,314.71. Ending balance in the capital fund is $235,272.33. Ending balance in PNC is $329,227.40. Ending balance in the Truist Money Market is $189,637.70. Ending balance in the merchant account is $137,668.37. And the ending balance in the Truist checking is $231,232.32. Total cash on hand is $2,230,609.70. I will say that our cash is, it's lower now than what it generally is this time of the year. And a big portion of that really has to do with the town center. So, I mean, we're still in good shape, but we still have to watch our cash flow. The budget versus actual summary report, that's the 2-page report. Total income to date is $242,372.62. Total expense is $530,004.90. To date, we have a loss of $287,632.28. Again, that is typical for this time of year because the bulk of our tax revenue has not hit. So for the month of September, which is not reported here, we received $122,000, but a big portion of our tax revenue actually comes in next month. Bill payment list. Total bills submitted for your review is $250,532.19. That completes the reading of the treasurer's financial reports, and then I just have some updates and a budget recommendation. So just confirmation, the DNR Community Parks and Playground Grant was submitted on August 20th. Emailed a request on September 10th to Senator Augustine and Delegate Fennell requesting support of a bond bill. I actually did get a chance to speak with Delegate Fennell over the weekend. I'm waiting to hear back from them. Not sure how that's going to go because the state is tight on money right now and a lot of funding is being shifted to the bridge. Corby Woods is not on the surplus list, but I sent an inquiry regarding any leasing opportunities for that site. Town Center, we owe less than $200,000 to Milestone. Furniture is scheduled for delivery the week of October 21st. The desk that were ordered in place of the dais that was there, that may come a little later, might not be in because we ordered that at a later time, so there may be a delay there. We completed the revisions to the Safe Streets grants on 9/11. I don't know if you guys are aware, but that had been going on for months. Finally completed that. Attended the county emergency training on September 10th. The plan is to work with staff to create drafts and present to mayor and council for review of emergency management plan, continuity of operations plan, and a community emergency response team plan, which I believe we have a draft of. The previous chief prior to Washington was working on it, but I don't think it was ever finalized. And so the plan is to get some drafts in front of you guys so that we can actually get those things in place. And the annual speed monitoring report that was submitted on September 12th. HR vacancy update. So as you know, we extended an offer to the chief position and he accepted. Town administrator position was re-advertised, and so we're getting quite a few submissions from that. Foreman position, need further discussion on that. We currently budgeted for a part-time foreman, and we really need a full-time foreman. And I do have some budget recommendations, which I don't know if you want me to read those now, or is that something you want to discuss later, or I can email it to you? You tell me, I have it in front of me. I can discuss that, Jason? Okay. So my recommendation is the police department. There was some restructuring initially in that department, and that has had to, due to recent events, had to be rolled back. And in doing so, my recommendation is that we eliminate the new police position, which would give back $57,000. We do need to increase the budget for the police lieutenant position that had gone away but is now back, because we need additional $21,000 in that line item. Eliminate the part-time safety enforcement position. I believe one of the lieutenant can go back to assume those duties. That's a reduction of $34,000. And then advertise the foreman vacancy as a full-time position at $60K, and the impact on the budget would be an add of $16,300 for that position. So basically, this would overall it would result in a $53,700 in salary savings and another $4,108 in taxes. So it's a total of $57,800 that we would actually get back, or we would save in making these changes. Public Works,
She's just giving us that, but then we have to come back and make decisions. That's not.
I just wanted to ask
Yeah.
a question if I could.
Please.
Are your recommendations in writing anywhere?
yes, I can send them to you. I had it on my
See them,
notes.
okay.
Okay, yeah, I will send this to you. Have it. Can you send that to? Yep, I'll have the clerk forward it to you. So I should have probably added this as an
It is
addition. I should have added this, or had you add this as a budget item, but the Public Works Department, there's some basic safety supplies that they need: hard hats, chaps, safety glasses. They also need 2 weed whackers. And so the money is already budgeted, $2,000 that I'd like to spend. Again, it's already budgeted money, so I'm not asking for anything additional. The Public Works also installed the informational sign at Pocket Park, so I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to go look at it. So it's a nice sign, should go check it out. And they replaced the dry rotted wood at the kiddie park, because that was a huge hazard. And that completes the reading of all my reports.
Oh, Madam Treasurer, did you want to highlight the plants and shrubbery
Somewhere.
that were replaced at the behest of a council member?
So if you came in the front building, you probably saw my handiwork out front.
Is that yours? All right, thank you very
Kind
much.
of, sort of.
Yeah.
It's a combination. Public Works did all of the heavy lifting, so I give them all the credit.
Can
But-
I say?
Go ahead.
When I came in the other day and I saw that the trees were, all the shrubs were gone, the first thing I thought was like, oh, no. Councilmember Burgess is gonna kill me for this. And that's like, no worries. He was the one who brought it to our attention.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I had a question.
Okay.
Were you mentioned the items that the Department of Public Works needed. You said it's already in the budget, and you put in as a not to exceed 2,000. Were you trying to get this approved tonight, or is it something that needs to happen quickly?
Yes, I would like to get it approved to spend the $2,000, because they could, initially they thought they could wait on those weed whackers, but they need those weed whackers.
Okay,
And
so
that's where the bulk of that money is going.
We'll add that under new business so we can get that
Okay,
approved tonight.
thank you, Vice Mayor.
And if we're gonna do that, the only thing we didn't add into the agenda is that I do not recall whether we appropriated funding for Hispanic Heritage Month last month.
Oh. I don't know.
Can you check the
I don't
minutes?
remember. Did we?
Yeah.
So we probably will have to put, or add it into the consensus because it's done. And I said this because I remember there's more events coming up.
Okay.
So,
Madam Mayor, with that, you may want to entertain a motion to add that as a number 4 on the consent item?
Yes.
No, someone should make the motion.
I was saying, can you give me 1 second? I
Oh,
was writing it down.
okay, I'm sorry.
Mayor, do you know, how much it was? Just like a
It's-
ballpark.
It was less than 25, less than what we had in the budget, but I don't, do you remember the number?
We do not exceed 25.
Yeah, because I don't think we spent the whole.
I move to add a funding approval for Hispanic Heritage Month, not to exceed $2,500 to the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Yes, thank you.
That'd be a vote.
Mhm.
All in favor?
No, because we just adding it to the consent, so then we have to make a
We're voting
voting.
on the motion to add it.
Call the vote.
Councilmember Cherry Burgers,
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Vice Mayor Keon Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Rosildo Mina Lopez.
Yes, thank you. All right, so I will move to the town administrator's report.
That would be me. And good evening, everyone. Good evening, town of Brentwood, and those who may be visiting with us this evening. I have a few items to highlight on the town administrator's report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have following that. As the treasurer has indicated, things are moving along across the street at the Brentwood Town Center. We continue to have weekly meetings between the TA, the treasurer, the architect, and the Milestones team. As she indicated, the furniture has been ordered, and the second floor is substantially complete. Walkthroughs are available as requested. The internet technology plan is presently in place and is being scheduled. The elevator inspection is scheduled for this Thursday, and October is currently the projected ready date. We're keeping our fingers crossed for that. And we reached a milestone today in that the Comcast was present this morning, and they actually ran the initial line into the building to handle our communication. So that was something that was long awaited, and Milestones actually saved us. Milestones and Mr. Smith actually saved us money because Comcast was thinking that they had to dig to put the lines in. But in the preliminary designs for the building, they ran conduit already to accommodate in addition to the power lines, they ran conduit to accommodate the communications lines. So there was no additional digging that was necessary to be done. Town events, in September, we hosted the final summer concert in the park last Saturday. That was done in conjunction with Hispanic Heritage Month. And I also had the opportunity to represent the mayor of the town at the ribbon cutting for Sis's Tavern in North Brentwood on that same day. 38th Street sidewalk, we completed the walkthrough of the area recently with KCI Engineering. Councilman Monroe and Councilman Burgess joined us on that. When it comes, that item is on the agenda. I will give you a formal update as to where we are with that when we get to that item. We are awaiting the revised proposal from KCI. If you noticed out back when you went out there, our Girl Scout troop has completed their second community art project, and it has been installed out back. We are contemplating moving it from one side of the building to the other back there. It's a very nicely done work of art, and we're glad to have it. Pleased to report that the town is slated to receive a significant refund from Pepco due to inaccurate past streetlight inventory. We completed an exercise with them, and I want to thank our code enforcement team who actually went out to double check their inventory of streetlights. And so what that was all about, there are certain parts of our town where the lines are very fine and tight, such as down in Queenstown. So each street light is designated to belong to a certain municipality or to belong to a certain area. So what Pepco had been doing, and they actually got kind of chastised for it, is that certain municipal street lights were being billed, but they're not really municipal street lights. So for example, the 208 and Route 1, even though those street lights are technically in the town of Brentwood, those are not Brentwood responsibilities. And those were things that they had to go through and edit. And I don't know if I should tell the approximate amount or
You can share, I know it's subject to change,
So-
because they haven't given us the final.
Yep, subject to change, but it'll be in the neighborhood of about $60,000 that we're due to get back from Pepco.
Mhm.
The treasurer was involved with that along with me, as I mentioned, our code enforcement team, who actually went out to do the counting. So that was a really good conversation, and glad to be able to do that. Last thing on my report, I mentioned in a previous meeting, and I want to thank our police clerk and our town clerk for expressing interest in doing this. But the city of Hyattsville is making available Narcan training classes, Narcan instructor classes, both in English and in Spanish. I spoke with the mayor about it, and she gave her consent for our staff to attend. I look forward to our staff completing, particularly the Spanish class, because we will then be able to offer that training here to the Brentwood community in Spanish once they complete their certification. So that training is underway, and there are 2 more parts to that training, and I look forward to their participation in that. The health department is reaching out to municipalities asking that more people would take the training, because they don't have enough staff at the health department to train all the folks that need to be trained in Narcan. And this town, of course, is just as good as any. We would be able to have our supply of Narcan here in the facility, and then your instructors would be authorized to dispense the Narcan and conduct the training. So that's a big plus for Brentwood. Okay, that's what I have for tonight, unless there are any questions for me.
Speaking of Pepco,
Yes.
any update on when they're planning to remove those double poles that we have across town? I know they have marked them with the X, but we don't know, we don't have a date.
I do not have an update on that. I will make a note to get an update, but I know from my other capacity that Brentwood is not the only place that has double poles, and so they have that problem in a few different places, and I will figure that out.
And
Okay.
speaking about lighting,
I'll get back to you.
I was driving on 37th Street with all the concerns that residents stated in the previous meeting, and a lot of those lights are very dim. It's like it's dark
Well,
on 37.
and one thing
They
that,
are lights, but they're like not really helping.
well, one thing that will happen as a result of the light audit is that all of the bulbs that are not functioning to capacity will be replaced with new light fixtures. So they should, you're right, with new LED light fixtures.
LED.
Yes,
Excellent.
yes.
Thank you, Ms. Bagley. I
So
don't
that
have
is
any
coming.
more questions for you, Council. Nope. Good.
Oh, and I did not get a chance to express my regards to our departing chief. So thank you very much for your service here again. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you, albeit briefly. And he's looking so sharp tonight. I had to go and get my jacket out the car because I couldn't sit next to him, just looking any old kind of way. So So I appreciate him kicking it up a notch at the table over here. Okay,
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Bagley.
I'm sure his wife.
Do you
made
have
him
any update on the code enforcement report?
I do not. I did ask the clerk about that. I believe that the code
That's
enforcement
fine.
officer was not well today and left us a little early. But as
Okay.
soon as I get it, I will.
Yeah, because I don't know. It has been brought to my attention about several things that are happening, including a small pig in town. A pig.
I had not heard that.
I heard something about it.
So-
It's a pet, right?
Yeah,
Pet pig?
yeah.
It's a pet
the-
pig.
Oh, okay.
I had not heard that.
so, yeah. Just,
Okay.
I haven't heard any
FYI.
complaints. I just heard that someone had a pet pig. That's all I heard.
So-
Okay.
all right, so that was probably part of the update for the code enforcement, but we'll leave it for the next
Okay.
time. I'm going to move, since Councilmember Rose not in and Councilmember Rao is not here for those committees updates, so I'm just gonna jump to Public Works and maybe any updates from Councilmember Bridges. Unofficially.
With regard to Public Works, as far as I know, there is no standing committee. It's my intention not to be the liaison for Public Works, but I do have an additional committee in mind that I'll bring to the working session next time that we meet.
Excellent, sounds great, thank you. And as you heard, we're looking for members for this committee. Special events, Vice Mayor.
So we have reached out to vendors for International Day. We're going to do a small event similar to what we have for Hispanic Heritage. I also reached out to Pan Masters, the steel drum band in North Brentwood, about participating, and I'm waiting for them to give me a call back. Councilmember Rao also recommended a reggae band that's in Mount Rainier that we're reaching out to. I've created the flyer along with the Spanish translation, sent that to Mr. Moran to review for accuracy before we put it in the newsletter and post it on our social media. I spoke with our election chair, Mr. Zuhair Ahmed. They would like to do a voter registration, like info session, workshop here at Town Hall on October the 12th. I'm waiting to get a time confirmation for him for that event. We already have an infographic that can be sent to Mr. Moran as soon as I get that time. I reached out to him today, and I'm just waiting to hear back. I met with I spoke with Councilmember Fisher at the Hispanic Heritage event, and she'll be reaching out to the mayor in the near future. She's trying to pull together all of the mayors in the Gateway Arts District, and so she'll be reaching out to you as well as Mayor Petrella, Mayor Crossland of Hyattsville, and Mayor Benitez in Mount Rainier. And then I met with Michelle Darden Lee. So I think we all know at this point that Councilmember Monroe has started a new position. He is Chief of Staff for Peter Shapiro with Maryland Parks and Planning. And so he's had to step away from his role as Gateway CPC liaison. I am going to be filling that role. And so I met with Michelle Darden Lee just to do a really quick orientation about the organization. And I will be attending those meetings and reporting to the council on behalf of Gateway CDC. And last, PGCMA comes off of our summer hiatus. So we'll have our first meeting this Thursday at Fairmount Heights at 7 p.m. on Thursday.
Councilmember Taylor, can you please tell us about what's going to happen during International Day? Because we have a whole programming, and you forgot to mention the date and time.
Oh, I'm sorry. International Day is Saturday, October 19th, here at Bartlett Park from 2 to 5 p.m. We're going to have live music, a DJ, we'll have some handmade artists, some games and activities for the kids, some resource tables, and it's just a really good opportunity to experience some other cultures. We have a really good, I'm so excited, my mouth is watering. We have a really good halal food truck coming. He's so good, his food is so good. He was in Hyattsville a couple weeks ago. So yeah, that's gonna be October 19th here at Bartlett Park from 2 to 5 p.m.
And we are partnering with the farmers market on that day.
So we opted not to partner because they have to have their event at the firehouse. They can't move it. But what we're doing is we made it so that the times don't conflict. Their event ends at 1, our event ends at 2, and we're going to cross promote the event. So they'll promote our event, we'll promote their event, so that we can try and get a good crowd to come out.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. With that, I would just want to add with all the meetings that I've been attending, I have been having interviews for town administrator and police chief, and I have to say that I got the support from neighboring towns, as North Brentwood assisting in both interviews, as well as Edmiston. So it was getting feedback from other mayors, not just myself. So it was interesting how interviews can be done when you have others with you. I want to mention this because I feel so proud of our staff that they have completed the Academy of Excellence for Maryland Municipal. And their graduation is coming up this Saturday, this Sunday. So we have our town clerk, Mr. Larry Moran. We have our code enforcement, Marta Aguilar, Mr. Hawkins, as well as Ana Contreras, the police clerk, that are completing their program and getting their certificate. So
Is that at the chapel?
Hmm?
Is that at the chapel?
it's gonna be at the chapel, yes.
Chapel.
At 3 p.m.
University Route?
Yeah. So, and that's great. So I think almost everybody have their certificate.
Just about, I think.
Yeah. All right, with that, I'm going to move to the consent agenda. And I will need consent to approve, to receive the report, Pocket Park, recycling campaign, minutes, and appropriation of the Hispanic Heritage Funding.
I move to approve the consent agenda, which includes
Sorry.
which includes
She's wrapping.
staff, mayor and council reports, Pocket Park, the recycling campaign, Hispanic Heritage Funding, and
Could we specify which?
Mr. Moran, could you give me the dates for the minutes? Yeah, the dates, Mr. Moran.
I was waiting for the static, but we have April 9th, April 16th, public hearing, April 16th, regular meeting,
Council meeting, public hearing,
and then finally we have May 7th, public hearing, and May 7th, regular meeting.
Give me the last one again.
May 7th, regular meeting.
Minutes for April 9th, April 16th, public hearing, April 16th, council meeting, May 5th, public hearing, May 7th,
May 7th.
public hearing, May 7th, council meeting.
Okay. Great. I was just gonna say, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thank you. I brought this ARPA funding, the American Rescue Plan Act, because as you heard earlier, the treasurer, we had run different programs, but we still need to be cautious about spending.
Yes. So, just to jump in real quick, give a brief overview. So we currently have a little over $507,000 that's available in ARPA. The cash balance you see is $517, but there's some outstanding checks there. 80,000 of that is earmarked for furniture for the new building. 50,000 is earmarked for Gateway CDC, even though we just cut a check for 25,000. We agreed to pay them 25,000 for 3 years. Public art, there was 30,000 already earmarked. Program coordinator, there's 80,000 earmarked. 38th Street sidewalk, there's $80,000 that's earmarked. And so what's remaining is $187,268.36. It would be my recommendation that we use that money for the town center. However, I also think we should consider, if we're not going to bring in a program coordinator, then we can try to repurpose that $80,000.
Madam Treasurer, Madam Mayor, on that, we have a future item to discuss, the 38th Place sidewalk. Although we are anticipating a revised proposal, I would imagine it is going to be, even the revised proposal will be higher than the 80. So I don't know if there would be an interest in perhaps considering reappropriating part of that money to complete the 38th Street sidewalk project. Once we have a clearer idea of what that amount may look like.
That's probably a good idea. We also have highway user revenues that we can look at too.
Yeah.
And I think in total, that's probably 120-some thousand, I think. But I can double check that number. So I can send out an email just giving you guys exactly what those figures are. And,
Yeah.
if the recommendation would be to move that 80,000 or just use highway user.
Well, speaking of highway user, is that now? Does that typically come in? Whatever we have now, we are anticipating. Do we get new HUR funds every fiscal year, or how does that work?
Yes, we get new money every year, but then we also have some money that has been encumbered. So you have access to that as well.
Thank you.
When do those highway user funds become available?
So we receive it quarterly.
Okay.
Do you, I'm sorry, Shay, I feel like we're bombarding you with questions.
No, it's fine.
She's smart.
I don't recall, on average, how much do we receive in HUR annually?
It's about 130
138, so then that will
Yeah.
be breaking down into
quarterly
4
payments.
separate quarters.
Mhm.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any
So currently, the highway user revenue, just FYI, our budget is $154,720. That's what we're expected to get for FY '25.
What's the number again?
154,720. And that number is actually provided to us by State Highway, so it's not an estimate that I provide. They provide that number to us for budgetary purposes. And they will periodically send an update throughout the year if it changes. Usually if it changes, it goes up a little bit, but we're not talking anything material. And let's see here.
Any other
And so we
questions?
currently have almost $128,000 that's encumbered for highway user revenue.
What's that number again? I'm sorry.
It's 127,580.
So this will be 154 plus 127.
Yes, so you have your encumbered money, you have your new money that's coming in this year. So, and depending on the timing, obviously, we probably won't have received all of this year's funding when we start this project or even when we end it. But we do have those monies coming in. So you have options in regards to if you want to use highway user or if you want to repurpose the program coordinator, the 80,000, into the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So, or for the sidewalk, I should say.
Yeah, because we have to leave some funding. There are some sidewalks that needs repairs that we did a couple years back, maybe 5 years, but now they're like, really needs to be some mayor work on some of those.
So, and keep in mind, for the ARPA, even though we selected the general allowance, standard allowance, which basically, because our ARPA revenue was under that $10 million threshold, we basically could use it all for general services. but all of the monies that we received have to be committed before the end of December. And so currently, we show these monies being committed. Even, they don't have to be spent, but they do have to be committed. So that $80,000 right now is the only thing that's really questionable to me.
The 80,000 associated with the coordinator position?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Question. Technically, the 80,000 is committed because it's tied to a salary. If we have it committed to something, but then we decide to move in a different direction, are we allowed to reallocate? Or if we committed to something, are we obligated to keep it tied to that?
No, I think we can move it, and it's easy for us to move it because all of our ARPA money is basically, it can be used for general services, which basically means we can use it for anything. And so we could just, whatever's that whole $500,000, we could, say, okay, well, $500,000, 200 is for the sidewalk. I mean, we can allocate it however we want.
So we have to add it into the next work session, but it's not gonna be, because we have to do a motion in order to appropriate that funding and use it for something else. So do you think we are ready to do that tonight, or is something that we need more to discuss, the 80,000?
I'm not sure what, are you proposing that we use it for the sidewalk, or?
That's,
what
no,
are-
I don't know, but then we will have to do a motion in order to transfer those funding.
I think we should give it until the next work session. Shelley was going to send some information
Mm-hmm.
that gives us a little bit of time to ruminate a little bit before even though we can move it if we need to, I think giving it a little bit of time just to think about it.
Well, yeah, I think you should probably take that into consideration and possibly other projects that you might want to do.
Yeah.
Knowing that you still have highway user revenues to pick up some of the costs for 38th Street.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you may want to use some of that 80,000 for other projects, and so I think it's only fair that you have an opportunity to roll it around in your brain for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I asked this question to Shelley because, we are still receiving some requests for emergency relief.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, and then we should put some in there for those families that are, coming, but we don't have any more money in those programs.
Yes, so my concern with that, and I shared it with the mayor, and I did have a discussion with staff in regards to it. The resident relief fund, we opened it up twice. And then it was closed because we really weren't getting any more inquiries. And if we open it back up, then, it's gonna take a while I'm kind of hoping we can just close this down come December 31st. That's it. We're kind of done with it. But with the resident relief fund, you can't just open it up for 2 months, a couple of months, and then close it back down. And we're not talking about a whole lot of money here. And I know we had one resident that was looking for assistance, needs a new roof, but I don't think we were going to replace someone's roof, because we only offered, I guess, $2,500 in assistance. And I don't know if the mayor and council is going to adjust that and raise the bar. I don't see us doing that. I figured if we open it back up, it'd just be $2,500. But quite honestly, with the over expenditures with the town center, we kind of need to keep our funding, I think, internal.
No, I was thinking, this is just my thought process, was like open up the $2,500 for those people that might not be able to pay rent or they lose their jobs. That's an emergency. Obviously, if they receive one time, we cannot be given a second time, but I was just thinking about leaving a reserve money in case there's an emergency. I remember these people that lost everything during their sprinkler failure. So those are emergencies that, sometimes.
So I will just email this all out for you guys to mull it over, consider what you want to do, and I assume you're going to send me some feedback so I can compile it and present something in the next meeting?
That works.
Can I, perhaps I'm behind, I just want, from my own notes and clarification, because we were discussing the 80,000. Has it been decided that the coordinator's position is gone? Is that,
Yeah, we did.
so that, okay, all right, okay, that's, I wasn't aware of that, okay, thank you.
All right. Councilmember Bridges, you had a question?
No, I think one of them's already been answered. I didn't realize that a decision had been made on that coordinator. I know there was some discussion, but I didn't realize that consensus had been made somewhere to eliminate the position. So that's one down, but what are the other actionable items that you are looking for input on?
Well, the other ones are actually things that have already been earmarked. And then my recommendation was the balance of ARPA, which was the $187,000, that whatever was remaining, that we would use it for the town center.
Okay. All right.
All right. So send us those numbers because that will require maybe a motion to appropriate those funding. All right. Any more questions about ARPA? Nope. And I guess at this point, we're just going to give a little bit of update on 38 Place.
Yes.
RFP.
Yes, we will do that. Once again, good evening. As I mentioned in the town administrator's report, we are awaiting the revised proposal from the vendor. We took it. We did the walkthrough. Councilmember Monroe and Burgess joined us on the walkthrough, and I do have a few comments, but I will defer first to Councilmember Burgess. He was able to join us on the walkthrough, and I'd like, if you don't mind, sir, sharing your observations and comments on the walkthrough and the vendor and their approach and how they interacted.
We spent considerable time, perhaps hour and a half, walking the site. What I found refreshing about the vendor is that they seem to offer any number of suggestions how to deal with the situation, left side, right side, how to move traffic, how to deal with streets, signage, power poles. It was a really a lot of give and take, and a lot of information get put out, a lot of postulates. I thought the task at hand seemed a lot more difficult than one might at first think, because there's so many options, so many obstacles. There are places down there where the sidewalk just disappears and reappears. It's just a little bit of a hodgepodge that needs a more deft hand in solving. The only other thing that is worth mentioning is there was considerable discussion led by our town administrator about trying to get adjustments to the cost estimate to be more agreeable and in line with a town of our size.
And so thank you for that. And I'm happy to take anyone, the treasurer had mentioned that earlier, but it started raining before we got a chance to go out, to actually take a walk through down there, because well, Mayor, I'm sure you've seen it, but it's not your traditional sidewalk project. There's the curve, there's a curvature in it. There's the utility pole that that exists in the middle of it. Several of those, particularly along 38th Place, several of the properties will need retainer walls because of the slopage and how and how it works. And what the vendor pointed out to us is that unlike some basic things that people sometimes call engineering, is no more than taking measurements and giving you quantities. This project needs to be actually properly engineered because of the curvature, because of the lots, the way that they are situated, the easements. The easements are different. Some of the lots come out further than others, so it's not exactly straight. And there's certain places you come around, and what we're going to end up doing is putting sidewalk, ending the sidewalk, putting in a crosswalk, putting in the sidewalk over here, because it's just not possible to put the sidewalk around the curvature there. So I'm looking forward to getting the revised proposal for you to consider. So that's where we are with that.
Okay.
And that's why it's taking a little time to get it together.
And the only other sentence I might add is that as we were walking around, I think one of the overriding goals was to make it a more truly walkable, hikeable, bikeable, child stroller setting, rather than just a few slabs of concrete in appropriate places.
And
Making sure there's this really interconnected network.
Right,
Yeah.
and we did encounter some residents. Some residents came out and gave some. Do you remember what? Cause I didn't bring my notes as to what they commented on, but I remember there was something specific.
Yeah, we met 4 residents, actually 5 residents on the way. And in that particular instance, they were looking at crosswalk issues, stop sign issues, traffic safety issues, and then areas where those who might have a wheelchair, for example, or a stroller, it's just simply not passable in areas. So needs to be rectified.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned stop signs, because in the engineering scope, all of that are things that this particular vendor is going to look to provide that perhaps we haven't gotten from previous engineering services, which actual stop sign recommendations, where stop signs versus yield signs versus those those types of things. They're looking at it from a full project perspective as opposed to just putting down some sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. 2024 Fall MML Conference, we're looking for $1,500 only, because I think at this point just Larry will be attending to the fall conference, and I might be going only for one day, just the mayor's meeting day, but I'm not staying, probably. Yeah, she said that before. Councilman Burgess. And yeah, I know Marcus and Councilman Rock said they're not. So we're looking for $1,500 for now.
Are you looking for a motion for that?
Motion, please.
Okay. I'll make a motion to allocate, from what fund, please?
MML conference?
No, from what fund?
General fund.
Thank you. Make a motion for $1,500 to support the MML Fall Conference, to send a staff member and the mayor at appropriate times, using funds from the general fund.
1,500.
Second, sorry.
Any questions, suggestions? You have a question? No, okay. All in favor? You do?
I do have a question.
Okay.
I guess given the tendency of the situation, we don't know what, how things will be, but would the mayor and council consider supporting my attendance under the summer conference arrangement, should I still be in the position at the time of the fall conference?
I'm not opposed to that, because even if Mr. Bagley is not here, the person who is coming in may like to attend. So I think it would be smart.
To save the spot.
Yes.
I think it's always good to have as many
People
people
attending.
from the municipality who have, and
Mhm.
the town administrator has the time to go, and I certainly want to support that.
So what is it's 750 per person?
So it would be 2,250 for three.
So you will have to,
Amending,
Amend your-
amending the motion to change the dollar amount from 1,500 to 2,150,
250.
2,250, thank you.
You might want to put a not to exceed because we did do a split arrangement for the summer conference, and I think that would be appropriate to do it that way again, so it wouldn't be,
It's a split if we're sending you?
right,
Okay.
yeah. So
we're gonna be split.
if I'm the one being sent, then Brentwood should not have to bear the full cost of my attendance. It should be split between,
Hyattsville and,
yes,
okay,
yes.
all right.
I support that.
Well, but still just put the
Just in case.
2250, yeah.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. 2024 National Legal City Summit. As you remember that Councilmember Monroe and I will be part of the National Legal Cities and this racial equity. So I am part of the committee, and I will be asking to support my attendance for, and it's $2,500. But they have not given us any discount code, because if we are part of the real, I think we might have some perks there, but at this point, we don't know.
Is that $2,500 just for you? Are you the only one going, or is that?
Yeah, because Councilmember Monroe said that he cannot attend, but somebody needs to represent in this case.
And where is it this year? Just curious.
It's gonna be in Tampa, Florida.
Okay, 2,500. General fund?
Before you make that, go ahead, no. I can ask the question after the
Afterward,
motion.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion for $2,400 to support the. 2,500, thank you. $2,500 from the general fund to support the mayor's attendance at the National League of Cities City Summit in Tampa, Florida.
Second.
Question.
The 2,500, does that include your travel and your hotel and the conference?
Is the registration and the hotel. But again, I don't know if,
How you getting there?
And your per diem?
Mr. Moran.
If I may, I kind of put the hotel price at 1,500 just because there's an average of 150 to 240. So I kind of averaged it at 250, and that gives it a 1,500 for hotel, and it gives 920 for the registration. So just in case we do go with a lower hotel, there still should be like about $400 for flight, unless you guys want to add more.
How long is the conference?
It's from the 13th through the 16th, November 13th, November 16th.
I'm only considering the per diem, but the per diem should be under 500, so that doesn't have to come to us. So the 2,500 includes the hotel, the conference.
And the flight, depending on
And
how
the
much the
flight.
hotel, depending which hotel she agrees to.
Okay. Okay.
But again, we haven't get the real discount number.
So, all right, just so we're confident it's not going to be more than 25. Okay, all right.
He did the numbers.
Councilmember Jerry Burgess,
Affirmative.
Vice Mayor Kiana Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Rocio Trimenio Lopez.
Yes, thank you. Right, we're moving to the chief with the stop sign legislation. As you remember, we have discussed this previously, but the legislation wasn't passed by the Maryland Assembly, but now we have one.
Hey, good evening again. So I'm going to be brief. As you all know, Maryland just passed a law. Section 5-202 is amended, authorizes the legislative body of each municipal corporation in the state of Maryland to pass ordinances that such legislative body deems necessary to assure the good government of the municipality. And also, Maryland Code Transportation Article Section 21-7071, as amended, authorizes this legislative body or the legislative body of each municipal corporation in Prince George's County to pass ordinances authorizing the use of stop sign monitoring systems in a school zone. So now that this bill has passed, when we originally talked about it, there was no law in place. And now that it's passed, the only way we can operate these particular cameras in our jurisdiction is we have to vote it in the municipality. I used legislation. There was no sense in me reinventing the wheel. The city of Hyattsville took their legislation and just basically plugged in all the Brentwood information. But of course, the good attorney, Mr. Deloach, is going to go through this. So the ordinance number will probably change. I guess that'll be determined by the clerk. And Attorney Deloach will review this and make the necessary changes for our charter, our code section, and plug in the appropriate articles and chapters of where this particular legislation will fall. I believe next work session, we should be able to present something to the council.
When is the next work session?
September 1st to, I'm sorry, October 1st Tuesday.
Hold on, just, October 1st. 2 weeks out.
I will work to do that, because my experience with this legislation is it's just not plug and play all the time. Okay, there may have to be different sections of our code that need to be amended to comply with this. So it's just not taking this whole ordinance and just making a new section potentially. Okay, so I have to look at this. So I will work to make it, to put it on the work session agenda.
Understood.
But it still may be a work in progress.
I
And I'm
understand.
gonna be out next week.
And what I'll do to assist Attorney Deloach is I'll go to eCode, our code online, and just kind of scope it out to see what I can send him of possible places where he could plug it in, and send that to him and see what we can have for you for the month of October. However, just want to note that this doesn't cost the town anything. Avio, our first presentation that we received, these cameras will come to the municipality free of charge. Once these cameras are here, and they, warning periods and all that stuff's over with, one, they're movable. Two, we can transport from one stop sign or one intersection to another throughout the town. And it's basically, there's a fee, of course, for the cameras, but that comes out of whatever citations are collected. Similar to the speed camera program, but slightly different. Any questions?
Yeah, this is new. I mean, I have not seen this or was aware of the legislation.
And Councilmember Burgess, it was a pilot program that was done in Cottage City. The municipalities actually started this.
Okay.
With the company that came out of California, just to bring you up to speed. And my apologies for interrupting you. Avio bought the legislation. A couple of municipalities did a pilot program. Started off with Chief Ayers in Cottage City. Forest Heights did one. Brentwood was involved in it, and there's 2 other municipalities. But the state legislation, House General Assembly was impressed with the program because of all of the stop sign incidents that we've had, and that data. It was proven to show during the first pilot in Cottage City a significant, 47% decrease in people running stop signs.
Okay, that's cool.
And it's AI generated.
Maybe it's not the appropriate time to ask, but since first, how are they defining school zone? Does it include daycares and things like that?
So anything where it's a designated school zone throughout the county, other municipalities, and here in Brentwood. So currently where we have, like Thomas Stone, has to be within that half-mile radius. So 37th Street, Wyndham, things of that nature. Pretty much anything within that half-mile bubble around the school on our side of the block, minus Mount Rainier. we're able to deploy these cameras. We do have a lot of walkers in Brentwood, and those are the areas that we like to target, where kids are crossing, where there are no crossing guards.
And do you know how many, don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you know how many stop signs are in the town of Brentwood that are within that zone? Is it just 2? 1?
No, it's more than that. I don't have the data in front of me, but we're talking a half mile. So it's not just, 37th and, it's quite a few stop signs. And the wonderful thing about this program is that these cameras, they're easily transported to another location where we deem they need to be deployed.
Okay.
Okay.
I had a question, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I know that Attorney Deloach said he is unavailable next week. He's gonna work to have this available at the October 1st meeting. Is there a timeline that we're trying to keep with to get this?
There's no timeline. It was a little difficult at first, because we weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. And Attorney Deloach, don't take this the wrong way. I was just trying to do some of the legwork so you wouldn't have to write this whole legislation to do something like this. But if it runs into November, I mean, that's fine. I was just hoping to have something in place prior to the new chief arriving, but if that doesn't happen, that's fine. I'll keep in contact with him to update him guide him with this program if he's not familiar with it.
I will do whatever I can to get it by the work session, but I've been through this a couple of times, and one time making the update had intricacies in it, okay? Like, for instance, this legislation doesn't identify where the school zones are, okay? We've identified school zones for speed, okay? So if we are going to use those same school zones, then we need to put something in this ordinance defining where the school zones are, okay? So it's those kind of details that we have to make sure are in this ordinance. And I don't know how Hyattsville did theirs. Okay, it might have been easy for them to just drop it in there, okay? But there may be several changes that we need to make to this ordinance and our current provisions. So that's the reason why I'm non-committal on the first date. But when we have that, I would give you what I have at that point in an update on where we are. But if it's simple, I can have it done by the work session.
Copy that. And what I'll do, Attorney Deloach, is I'll get the school zone map for you so we can have those particular streets, and we'll put it in between that middle section on page 3 to designate where those school zones are right after that paragraph. Okay.
Go ahead.
Just one more question,
Yes.
again, catching up. Sounds great. There is no, we don't actually have to do this at all, correct?
No,
Okay,
we
just-
don't. No,
okay.
we don't have to do it, but Councilman Burns.
And again, I'm not suggesting that. I just,
Oh, no.
I felt like I heard a push for time and getting things done quickly, and I want to
No.
know if there was something else.
No, the only
Driving
thing that even made me want to try to have it in place before the new guy comes in, that was just a courtesy to him to have it up and running. However, if we're not able to do that, I'm perfectly okay with that. And the other thing is, no, it's not mandatory, or we don't have to do it at all. But what we've seen, excuse me, in the last year with reports like 37th Street, just here recently, 2 council meetings ago, I believe it was, where residents were here complaining about speeding and people running stop signs on 37th Street. This is just another added tool with our small department where we can use technology to assist the police department in enforcing, areas that we can't be at all the time during the course of a shift.
Big thank you for the explanation.
And I have a quick question.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this is just legislation, so the actual implementation of this would still have to come back to mayor and council?
Right.
And I
So-
assume there would be an agreement with whoever that vendor or contractor
Right,
is?
and then, and
Okay.
right now, that technologies, is solely with Avio. So, excuse me, so once this is, the legislation piece portion of it is taken care of. Jason would have to review whatever contract, like we, even for the trial period that we did, Jason would have to review that to make sure that, there's no harm or foul on the town. But from what I'm getting from the other municipalities, the startup cost is absolutely nothing, zero. Didn't cost Hyattsville anything. So that's the good piece about it. We don't have an initial investment.
Any other question for the chief? Nope. So we are tabling this item, Mr. Moran. All right, so I'm going to move, thank you for that, Chief Washington. Going to move to the new business, and we have 37th Street request for traffic calming device petition.
Yes.
And, yes.
We have received actually two petitions. One for the speed bump request and one for parking permit petition. Yes, both of these are 37th Street.
One says 37 Place, what is it, Place or Street?
No, both of these are 37th Street. One.
So we have one from the previous meeting that was 37 Place that we found out. Not sure how it ended up to 37 Place, and then we have 37th Street. So there's two different traffic calming device petitions. And we have two for 37th Street, one for the speed bumps, and then we have one for the resident parking.
Yes, okay, so let's address 37th Street first.
Yes.
So 37th Street, there are two different petitions. One for, two different petitions for 37th Street, one for speed bump and one for residential parking permit. I'm saying that correctly? Okay, all right. So both of which I have examined the map, and I believe that the petitions are in order. What I would probably recommend that we consider, and I would work with the with BPD on this, is, and Councilman Burgess mentioned this in the previous meeting, is that while the residents did complete the petition, there is nothing stopping the town from actually installing devices as the town deems necessary. And I bring that up now because the petition is in order for a certain segment of 37th Street. However, I believe, based on my observation, and like I said, I'll work with the police department on this. I believe that it's in our best interest, if we're going to install speed control devices on that portion of 37th Street, because of the decline in it and the length of the street, we should install those devices for the length of 37th Street. And I say that because if you look at just the section that they're applying for, by the time the cars come down, by the time they reach that area at speed, even if they abruptly slow down to go over the speed devices, they're still, the risk is still there for the people that want to solve that problem. I would recommend that we look at installing one or two, possibly three bumps or humps upward of the area that's being petitioned, just in the overall interest of safety for the entirety of 37th Street. That's my recommendation. Should the council decide to move forward and accept their petition, my administrative recommendation amended to that would be to move further up 37th Street and to install them throughout.
Okay, please explain which kind of bumps or humps are we talking about? Because in the past, we have all discussions about the temporary strips that can be, but those are dangerous, and fire department came and speak about it. And so what is, in this case, we're actually going to construct speed humps?
My recommendation would be that we would, that we would have it engineered. So the traffic engineer comes, takes a look, takes the measurements. We need to actually do some speed tests. We need to do some, do an actual traffic survey. And the traffic engineer will make recommendations based upon what's actually seen, say over a 10-day, 2-week period, to be able to determine which devices work best. Now, there are permanent devices that can be paved in. There are temporary devices that can be moved around. So both of which have merit. But I would recommend, which is what most municipalities are doing now. They're actually taking the extra step of having it engineered, which is what we did over here, I believe, on either Taylor or whichever street, the side street over here, where we had it done. Because of the slope in the hill, the distance between where they should be located, it shouldn't just be haphazardly decided. It should be actually engineered so that you have the appropriate devices at the appropriate intervals.
So, timeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm passing around for your review. Chief Washington pulled this up, but that's an example of what the portables would look like. Your question, Madam Vice Mayor.
This is our emergency fix. I'm just gonna hold this up. It's portable, and it's drilled, down. You put the anchor holes in, and Public Works should have some of these in their arsenal anyway for emergency situations where we have to do something, even if it takes us a month to get a traffic engineer out to do something like that, to do the study and put them in. At least we can have that temporary fix. And this isn't thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
This is 150, 175 per speed bump, which can be reused on the next project if we need it on an upcoming street. Because the traffic group and the engineer, they're not cheap. I mean, the minimum is $10,000 for them to come out and give you a good study. It's putting the strips down, doing the speed study, and then doing the actual engineering to see where they should be strategically placed. And not only with the speed bumps or humps that you have to put in signage for those. So.
And that's what my question was, like these temporary solutions, because it might take a while in order to get the engineering, the funding, everything that is needed, the grants that we are supposed to get soon. So that is time. So what is our timeline, Attorney DeLoach, when we receive a petition?
I don't have it in front of me right now.
But I just want to bring that to the attention, that we actually have a timeline to follow when we receive a petition to
I
act.
can get that for you in a second.
So, man, that's what town administrator and I discussed, was the temporary fix, because we know that you may even have to RFP the engineering or the traffic group to, to get the best price. So, we just need the treasurer's approval to spend a few $100s on those.
Not my approval, I don't approve anything.
Find the money.
Find the money.
Comments from the council? I see one for $255. That's what I see.
My first question was gonna be, is this something that we will need to do an RFP for the engineer and the study? What was my second question? If we purchased, my second question is, if we purchase the temporary traffic calming tools, do we feel that we are able to adequately judge where they need to go, and how quickly can they be installed?
The install for these is, I believe, no more than 45 minutes. It just depends on because you do have to actually drill
Drill
down
down.
to put the anchor, once you lay it out, to put the anchor bolts in so they don't move when people ride over it. However, with these right here, people aren't going to want to ride over these fast because these smaller ones, they give you a bigger jolt than a traffic calming hump. But estimated time to install one of these is about 45 minutes based on what I researched. And what was your other question?
Do we feel equipped to make a decision about where to place it? Because it sounds like Mr. Bagley's concern was that if we have them either too far apart or too close together, it could potentially cause damage to a vehicle. It could essentially be more harmful than it is good. So do we feel that we can make a judgment about where to put them while we're waiting to get a study done?
Based on what I know about speed, and I'm not a traffic engineer, and speaking with Public Works, I think we can make an informed decision on where we're gonna strategically place these to just not put a Band-Aid on it, but to at least slow down the traffic there. So not just 2 where the residents want them, but maybe 3 and spread them out at 50 feet a piece to get that, okay, there's one, gotta slow down, there's one, and so on. So we may even wind up doing 4 if you decide to go with that. But however we do it, we do need to put down more than 2, and they have to be spread out. We don't want them all bunched up on each other like you're going off-roading. We don't want to cause that type of damage.
So there are 2 things that I'm hearing, so I want to make sure I'm hearing things correctly. So we had a petition for speed bumps. We have talked about that petition. Once a decision is made, then we have a hearing on that, right? Which we're not anywhere near that yet. And then I think we've got, 15 days?
Yes.
15 days.
That's right.
After that. So we're not even at that point yet.
Right.
So I guess the steps, do we agree or don't agree with having a professional come in and evaluate it? Right?
Okay. That is my long-term recommendation
Yeah.
for all the reasons that I've stated.
Yeah. And I'm with you on that. I think that's a smart thing to do. What my question would be, and this might go to you as you're reading the code as well, is do these temporary devices, if we decide to put them in, do they require a hearing, even if they're temporary?
I would default to say yes.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Yep, because it is an installation. It is going to impact that road. It's going to impact the residents. So I think that you should follow the same process.
It's flickering, the video, so
May
not
I,
sure if we have. Well, we know that the system is slowly dying.
follow up if I may to the attorney?
Please go ahead.
Okay, so if we were to pursue this not under the petition area, but under the paragraph that allows the city to make whatever decisions necessary in due course of governance, outside of the petition process, which is what this temporary fix would be, would that also require, not to say not to do a hearing, but would a hearing be required under the oversight authority of the council?
I'm gonna have to review the code.
Okay.
It'll take me about 5 minutes.
So, are we counting the 15 days from today's meeting or from the day that petition was submitted? That's my next question.
Okay. Give me a moment.
I don't think there is any timeline whatsoever written out in the charter to respond to that petition. There's nothing about days to respond to the petition. It's only about once some decisions are made, a hearing, and then we've got a clock.
Yeah, you have to give notice, you have to have a public hearing under the resident petition. You have to have a public hearing, you have to give notice of the public hearing. And once you get the feedback at the public hearing, as was stated earlier, 15 days from that date, the council needs to make a decision, okay? For the mayor and council to do it, you still have to have a public hearing, okay? It says, residents shall be appropriately notified of any proposed change, and such individuals and the town at large will have an opportunity to be heard by the mayor and town council before the change is adopted or implemented. So you still have to have a public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Which mean,
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, if we're trying to move things along to some conclusion, then if we do go the professional evaluation route,
Mhm.
I mean, we just get started on that now because there are other timelines that will constrain how quickly we can do it. We can't just go out and put them out there tomorrow anyway. Yeah. So we just need to decide if we're going to go the professional route or not.
In my opinion, I would say we should do both. For the time of, that might take the whole process to get the engineer out, to get the quote out, so maybe this is just a temporary solution, as the chief said. I mean, these devices, we can just move them around
So-
town in case is needed.
So when you mean both, number one, we're going to authorize him and her to start working on a professional to evaluate. At the same time, we're authorizing those two to order the temporary pumps, but we're not actually putting them in yet because that we have to do the hearing. for
The
that.
here,
Right,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
so we need to find out how much, which ones, because I see different ones. They're from $89 to $400 and something dollars. So, and then we need to figure it out.
Yeah,
Funding.
we'll research it.
Yeah. And we just don't want to, put down the cheap $80 ones.
No,
and You
exactly.
get 50 cars to run over, and the next thing you know, the polymer
It's done.
breaks. So, but I'll look at the reviews and send my recommendations to Mr. Bagley and Madam Treasurer. And,
So can we have a motion, I guess, for spending, if that's the case? Or we'll have to wait until the next regular council meeting to approve that?
If, right, I would say, we can do a not to exceed,
No,
and, and because I don't know if we haven't done enough research to determine which one of those options is the best one, but I think we're clear to do a not to exceed.
not to exceed
To 1,500.
Mayor, if I may. So if I remember correctly, I can go back, but this is kind of what's going on with Utah, where we purchased some bollards and added a few stop signs to kind of do a traffic flow study / test for 60 days, and then we did extend it with the previous Vice Mayor Stefan Legging. So we had previously done it already with Utah, where we kind of did a test and we sent a letter to residents, notified them, and then we did extend it for 90 days.
Now, was a public hearing done in that case, or just a
No.
letter? Okay.
So we're okay with the purchasing of some temporary ones right now? We're all comfortable with that, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. General funds again? Treasurer?
Yes.
Make a motion authorizing the purchase of temporary traffic calming devices not to exceed $1,500 coming from general funds. The number and style as determined by the chief and the town administrator.
Okay. Just a question before we call the roll. Is this the same discussion for 37 Place?
They're requesting speed.
Speed,
Speed
so
bumps,
it's
speed.
not gonna be, assuming that 37th Street is longer than 37th Place, so we have 3 here for 1,500, you're assuming there's $500 a piece, so how about the other street?
And I thought it was 37th Street, but it's
No, we have 2 petitions, we have 37 Place and 37th Street.
37th Street, is that speed or parking?
It's speed.
Speed.
The two 37s are speed. And 37th Street is requesting
Speed,
Speed
traffic calming and resident
and
parking.
parking, yes, residential parking. So if looking at this, just, I'm not choosing anything, but at least they're like 400 to 500, so maybe we should do 25.
The 200, the $200 ones that I looked at look to be of pretty good quality. So
Okay,
we can
all
get-
right. 1,500, okay. I just want to,
Okay,
We got money to dispose of anyway at worst.
yeah, okay. So
just,
call the roll, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, while we're still on the question, just, we're only voting on the speed calming devices for to respond to 37th Street, correct?
And place, because that's
Okay.
next.
Okay. Okay, if we're going to augment to place, then the 37th Place should be considered strictly under the auspices of the council, because the petition has not been determined to be in order for 37th Place. There are signatures on the 37th Place petition that make that are not.
Well,
There were
and-
non-residents on that
non-resident.
petition.
Well,
yeah.
and in any case, we should have something in reserve in case that comes true, so we don't have to come back and,
No, correct. I'm saying we can still do 37th Place. I was just clarifying that we cannot do 37th Place under the auspices of their petition. We have to do 37th Place under the auspices of council oversight. That's what I was clarifying.
May I make a suggestion?
yes.
I think you should split the vote. Is there any reason why we're combining these votes? Because
No, it was, I'm only adding, the calming devices. I was just counting for the 1,500 because it can be for that, for 37, but it's not ready, but it can be for somewhere else that is needed. So we can have a reserve in there,
No,
a
we
device.
You have to authorize where they're going to go. I think.
Right now, we're buying the,
if this is just a general funding motion, that's one thing.
Okay.
But I thought we were on the petition 37th Street and how many calming devices we want for that location. And then we added 37th Place because there was some general common issues there. But it appears that they've gotten here by different means. One is through a proper petition. The second one, the petition didn't hit the mark. So, and you haven't had a lot of discussion on 37th Place to begin with. So I'm just saying for purposes of clarity, because there's already a little bit of confusion between street and place, maybe you make a separate motion unless there's a really good reason to combine them for funding purposes, just so the record is clear.
I agree, I think we just stick in order. We've done
okay.
$1,500, that's for our 37th Street, and then in a minute, if we allocate more, then we allocate more, if we don't, we don't.
okay, that's fine. That's
All
good for, call the roll if there's no other comment.
Councilmember Jerry Burgess,
Yes, sir.
and Vice Mayor Kiana Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Rocio Domino Lopez.
Yes, thank you. All right, so now we're going to move.
What-
Oh, no, we're missing the parking, residential parking permit. From,
Okay.
because it's 2 items for that petition.
Yes.
It's 2 different things.
There are 2 items. The part.
Reggie, could I make one more motion? It may not go anywhere, but I'd like to make it anyway. 37th
Okay.
Street. I'm still
Don't-
sticking with street. Haven't even
street,
gotten
yes.
to place yet. I'm
We-
saying one.
No, street is what you just did.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not done with street.
Right. So right. That's what I said. Street.
Okay,
is-
yeah,
street,
exactly,
right,
yes. And it may not be a good motion, but I'll give it a try. I'd like to make a motion authorizing the town administrator and the treasurer to seek out bids for professional services to evaluate calming devices for 37th Street.
Second.
Yes. All in favor? We don't have to, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Just wanted to do that to make it
Yes,
clear what
clear
our
what we do.
pathway
Yes.
is.
Okay, okay.
So now we haven't finished with 37th Street because we have the parking permit request.
Yes. Okay. So we do have a petition for parking on 37th Street. I respectfully request that we not act on that tonight. I have not verified the signatures on the for the parking permit, and that does not require as much behind the scenes legwork to approve. I believe that we should be able to get this tightened up on the October agenda between the work session and the regular meeting. We should be able to do that in regular order in October, if that's okay.
Same thing with the deadline, right, of the petition.
Yes, we received. So the petition is it's not stamped. So when
It came in on 9/11.
okay, so the petition came in on 9/11. Yes, that would be perfectly okay to act on that in October.
Okay, all right. Table for work session.
Question?
That's for parking?
This is for
Yeah.
This is for parking.
I
There's a
just want-
separate ordinance for that.
Yes,
Yeah, there's a hearing, and then once you have the hearing, the mayor and council doesn't have 15 days to make a decision. They make the decision that night.
yes.
Okay, so that, I just want to let you know there's a separate provision for the hearing process for permit parking. Okay?
Yeah.
You had a
But-
question?
I'm done.
Oh, you
But-
done, that's the
exactly what I
same
was gonna say,
thing,
yeah.
yeah.
But that is subject to signatures being verified, which
Oh,
I
Oh,
have
yeah,
not
yeah.
which I have not done.
So which I believe you will have by the work session.
Yes. That is
All right, so, any other question before I move to the next item?
Well, are we gonna do anything for 37th place?
That's our next item. It's a next item.
Okay, all right, okay, got it.
Keep my numbers. 37 place request for traffic calming device petition.
Okay, so now with that, we are not prepared tonight to address their petition. However, based on previous action of the council, if you would like to make a motion for us to order enough calming devices to potentially install them under council oversight provisions, then you may instruct us to do that.
Motion?
Are we losing the same amount, 1,500?
It's a smaller street, but we can.
Not to exceed?
Mhm.
We felt like 15, well, if it's not to exceed, then it doesn't matter. It's not to exceed. Are you opposed before you can always not second the motion.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Go ahead. I do have a question or two, but go ahead and make the motion.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
can make the motion, all right. I move to approve, the amount of not to exceed $1,500 for the purchase of traffic calming devices for 37th place.
Potentially for 37th place.
Potentially for 37th place.
Second.
All right, comment?
Yeah, it is, has anyone went out and looked at the exact boundaries of the residents' concerns? I have not in this case, so.
Yes, I have. I've looked at it and I am familiar with it. I am not convinced that speed humps will solve the issues that they are addressing. However, it is worth being prepared to do that. 37th place, if you're familiar with there's a lot of natural curvature there that will decrease speed. 37th Street is long and straight, which not encourages, but makes it easy to makes it easy to speed. So based on how these calming devices work, I'm not certain that that's the right calming device to deal with that particular situation. We may end up doing something similar to what was done down here at Utah, with bollards and forcing people into single passages. I think that may
Makes
be a
sense.
better, that
Makes
may be a
sense.
better solution. But it's open to.
It's 1, 2, it's kind of like 3-block street, pretty
Mhm.
much, and there is stop signs. This is run by Perry, and then there's another stop sign on Quincy,
Mhm.
and then the next street is Rhode Island, so, yeah,
Mhm.
so, yeah, I don't see how we're
And
gonna.
we're,
And you have the curvature.
And you have the curb,
Yeah,
yeah.
so.
So, I don't know if that, but anyhow, we still have, that's tentative to expand,
So-
because it's not, the petition is not,
Right, right. And so since you're doing this under the council oversight provision,
mhm,
that means you can choose to do it or you can choose to do
Not
something
to,
else,
mhm.
you know?
mhm.
So the motion is would still be in order. It's a not to exceed. The chief and I can go take a look at it
Mhm.
and decide whether or not
Yeah.
that's the better option.
Chief, any of your folks hung out there for a while to evaluate traffic recently? I'm just kind of, clearly there's a problem where the residents wouldn't have, you know.
There is, Councilman Burgess, however, I would have to talk to my traffic guy.
Okay.
And, if you could I could give you some feedback tomorrow. I'd just like to have a conversation with him about 37th Place. And, I should be able to have something to you by midday tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm fine with the motion.
Councilmember Jerry Burgess,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kiana Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Rocio Terminio Lopez.
Yes, thank you, so move. All right. Banner Brown, Public Works Department, what's this?
You requested it, and looking for the foreman, and then we had our sick public works worker, Donnie.
We had a situation that was is he back? I just didn't want to be short, and I thought that it would be a good idea to have a temporary workers in the case that one of the public works is not here or sick. I don't want to disclose personal information, but Mr. Donnie has been out for a couple weeks, so I don't know when is the returning date. But that was just a proposal to see if we need an extra
But he was back.
help.
He's back.
He's back.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, that now, it's like,
He's back.
we good. So we can remove this item. That was just, if we, in case we need, to have a temporary worker.
But that remove for the night, but it's not a bad thing to think about futuristically, you know.
Mhm.
So and there are some sources that provide casual labor that we could possibly look to
Yeah.
if that's your interest.
Maybe bring it back later.
Yeah, I think with him back full-time, I'd like to think they can hold down the fort until we can get a full-time foreman
Mhm.
on board.
Yeah.
I do like your idea of it. I think maybe we should pursue that a little more aggressively. I mean, there's
Mhm.
all sorts of things. We're such a small staff. It's starting in, it's fall, snow's going to get here. Somebody gets COVID, and then all of a sudden we're short. And do we really want to wait to another council meeting before we hire a temporary person? It would be nice to have something in place.
That authorizes us to
Yes.
do it?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I absolutely agree, yeah.
So what do we need to do to make that happen?
Just a motion to give them, the power to,
Yeah, we
to
just need the
hire in
power
case
to
we
do
need
it.
it.
Power to,
Short term.
yeah, short-term temporary staff.
Do we need dollar figures
Actually, I
on
think the
something
mayor
like
already
that?
has the power to do it, she's
Oh,
just,
yeah.
Can you already do
No,
it?
that's true. Yeah,
She can already do it?
She can already do it.
yeah.
Okay, all right,
Mhm.
okay.
So.
And do we have agencies, have we ever done this before? Do we know?
No,
where
we've never
All right, so we
utilized
need to
them before.
investigate who our
Yeah.
go-to people are, okay.
In the past, we had like labor ready nearby in
Yeah, and,
Hyattsville, but I don't know if
and
they're
there
still
There
there.
was one we used in Seat Pleasant, I just can't think of the name of it, but it was, okay.
Oh, people ready.
Yeah, I mean, there's
huh?
quite a few around.
Oh, okay.
We've just
Don't
haven't
know.
utilized them. So we
Okay.
can
Maybe
definitely
we
reach
can
out
find out.
and, mhm.
Is it something we would want like an MOU with, standing MOU or something like that?
Well, generally the temp agencies, they will send you can get a contract for, I guess, like labor and lock them into a rate, for like a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we can
Leave
look at
that to smarter people than me.
All right, well, thank you. Now, the next item to discuss is the SALT MOU. As you know, we're approaching to the winter. We never know how the winter is gonna look like. So, we received that.
Did everyone get an
We used
opportunity to read
get
it?
it
think
from
I've got
Hyattsville.
I think that's the
We've
cover
been working
letter.
with them, so.
This is the actual MOU, looks like this.
Mhm. I thought we already had that.
Yeah.
The letter?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't know that it needs to be read in its entirety. It's just basically,
Is this the same one that we've been using in Hyattsville?
yes. Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't need to be reviewed.
No.
Yeah, so we basically, we get salt from them and we pay for that cost, plus there's a 15% administration fee.
Because they store the salt. We don't have storage.
Right. And I do think it's a little less when we utilize it, utilize them for salt. We also have Harvey salt on standby in case for whatever reason there's a shortage and we can't get it from Hyattsville.
So this letter will serve after MOU? Or are we going
I'm
to
gonna
receive a
pass it,
form?
no, this is the actual MOU. I think you
Oh.
guys only, yeah. But I think in my email. the
Probably
MOU
you
is in
did.
there, But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do we have to read this memorandum of
I don't
understanding?
think you need to read it.
No.
It's internal.
It's basic, so I guess we just need a motion to enter into this MOU.
Is there a dollar amount on there?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, just the percentage.
Did you know how much you
It's
need?
as, depending on how much we get.
Yeah.
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding with the city of Hyattsville to acquire salt for, to be used for inclement weather.
Second.
Questions?
It's the same one we've been using. I'm good with it.
If everybody's in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Just for the record, I have not seen that. So you could
Oh,
go
you-
ahead, but
You
I have not
not
reviewed that.
reviewed it?
I have not reviewed that.
I was looking to see.
We didn't review this last year when we did it?
Is it,
But
It's the same.
it's this exact same agreement?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Same paper,
Yeah.
but we can definitely give him a copy.
Yeah, you can send it on.
It's not gonna snow tomorrow,
I'm sorry, I haven't said anything because I'm trying to read this thing. But
okay?
I need to,
You wanna just put it on the October agenda then?
Yeah, you
We
can.
still have
yeah,
time.
let's do that if there's no hurry. That way we can
Mhm.
double check. And I don't know that he gets to look at it as well. I hate to vote
Yeah.
on something legal that he hasn't taken a look at.
I withdraw the motion,
Mhm.
and I would like to make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for the acquiring of salt once it has been reviewed by
The attorney.
Attorney Deutsch.
Yes, second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. Well, this
In a pre,
Girl Scout troop.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I missed
never
the.
mind, never mind, no, go ahead, no,
Sure.
I'm sure, go ahead.
Are you sure?
No, I'm sure, go ahead.
Okay, sorry for that. All right, Girl Scout troop 23006. Do you have any
So-
updates?
So they reached out to us. I know Mr. Gasson in the past used to communicate with them, but they do have a few dates in mind that they would like to use the town hall for. Mostly all dates are on a Sunday. Give me 1 second, I can pull them up for you guys.
Clerk, and when we talk town hall, I want to be clear now, because we're going several weeks, months in advance. Are we talking this space, the other space, or either?
No,
This space, I mean, as long as we don't shut it down for construction or anything anytime soon, but, so the dates are as following: Sunday, September 29th, Sunday, October 20th, Sunday, November 3rd, Sunday, November 17th, and Sunday, December 8th. And then they would essentially use the town hall between 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m.
What was the last date?
December 8th.
December 8th.
Sunday, December 8th.
That first one was Sunday, September 29th.
Yes.
1029
Mhm.
So, Mr. Gaston, in the past, we had a card, scan card. We programmed and we only gave them limited access for Sunday between the hours of whatever to whatever. It was like a 2.5 hour window. And we did that, Mr. Gaston, in case the officer on duty had an arrest or was tied up on a call or something, and no one was able to come back to the building and let them in. That option is still available. I think we still have the old card. It just needs to be reprogrammed and issued to the scout or troop master or whatever for that organization with you all's approval. So
I don't
just
think
to,
there's any issue, because like you say, they had time limit,
Right.
and it was only, I don't know how you program it to be every Sunday, because it's kind of like every Sunday.
It was only on Sundays, and the card only allowed them access to one door, and that was it. And they couldn't use it outside of those boundaries that were set in the program for the scan card system.
I don't have any problem with that. Anyone?
Now, I'm tempted to make a quid pro quo motion, though, that there's some Girl Scout cookies exchanged hands.
Truffle.
And the peanut butter.
No, it's a great idea.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah. All right, the last item will be the Weed Walker approved funding and other
Safety
safety
supplies.
supplies.
I move to approve $2,000, an amount I move to approve an amount not to exceed $2,000 for the purchase of safety equipment for the Department of Public Works, line item to be determined by the treasurer.
I'd like to support the Vice Mayor with a secondary motion.
Okay, no questions?
Councilmember Jerry Burgess,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Gannon Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Lucia Terminio Lopez.
Yay, thank you. All right. All right, and that is the conclude our council meeting, and we are going into a closed session to discuss personal matters with attendance of mayor and council and our town attorney.
I move to adjourn the meeting of the mayor and council to go into closed session to discuss personal matters. Those in attendance include the mayor and council and the treasurer. I'm sorry,
No.
and the attorney.
Just the attorney, yeah.
Second.
Aye. All
Aye.
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good night, and it is 9:14 p.m.
Good night, Brentwood.
Night.